Hey, it says we are live. Look at that. What Scott's got. Norman
Yeah,
Saunders.
Norman Saunders. I never heard of this gentleman, but I was in Half Price Books. I think it was I think it was in Illinois, maybe Chicago or suburb of Chicago. And I saw this book, and it's a thick book, man.
He is the
And
workhorse of all time
oh
illustrators.
my
Yeah.
gosh, yeah. Anyway, I wanted to show you this book, Ellis, because we talked. Let me see if I can zoom out a little bit.
Okay.
Is it still? Hang on. I have to do that. I literally have to move my camera.
Yeah. 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 Well, yeah. You're
I
using
don't
your
think that
iPhone, right? It focuses. It focused.
is it. Is that better? Okay.
Yeah. Let me solo you for one thing. That'd help.
Okay.
Make it like
Anyway, so this book was published in 2008. I'd never heard of this guy. This book is probably 400 pages,
my
but
goodness.
I wanted to flip through it. Ads for Illustration Magazine. I don't know if you've ever seen Illustration
Oh
Magazine.
yes. Uh huh. I'm on some sort of thing that they notify me about interviews all the time on
Anyway, so
email.
it's got some of his early work, and then it goes into early pulps, pre you know all kinds of.
Yeah. That.
Well, I guess those are magazines. This is officially in the pulps.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, the spicy. Can you see this book? This one right here that I'm
Yes,
pointing at?
that's probably pretty famous, isn't it?
Yeah, I've seen that when I was a kid. I had a science fiction magazine or book. It should be on my shelf somewhere. But anyway, it had that in it. It was in black and white. I remember seeing that and it's like, what in the world? And that was always one of those, oh God, don't let my mom see that picture.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
it,
yeah.
but it,
That was the whole point, was to be spicy, saucy,
yeah,
as
the
it says, spicy
saucy.
and
Yeah, this is
spicy and saucy.
we have saucy mysteries, saucy stories. Uh,
Look at
you
that.
know,
Look at all that bounce lighting on that nude. Yep.
oh yeah. So
Oh yeah. Fantastic, fantastic.
yeah,
Well, for a guy, you're trying to think about doing some painting, and
yeah,
this is the guy to have around, is a little bit of flesh tones and stuff like that.
a lot of
It's
flesh tones in this
a lot
chapter.
of, a lot of flesh tones, yeah.
But
And
then
then
I mean, he did whatever.
he
I mean,
did
let's see.
everything. Yeah,
Look at this. This is kind of a
yeah,
blown up. So I don't know how big this is, but this is the original painting. But to me, it's so inspiring to see all he's slapping it on. I mean,
yeah.
he's not a Frank Frazetta by any means. Well, I don't know if this is oils. It may be oils, I guess. But he's working. He's not. He's. It's. You know. I don't know
The,
if you
you
call that
you have.
color on color, wet on wet. I don't know what that is, but
Mhm.
but it's a lot of you know.
He's
Even in
not.
small.
He's not as big a renderer as some people are, but it's like you say, it's bigger color tiles, bigger shapes for how he does things, but it's still his early work. He was trying to render a lot more, but
Yeah.
looks like he gets into, he's going to be exposed to a lot of painting thinking, and he'd like to do things like that Crime Busters there, where he's got big old color tiles on the guy's forehead for his highlights and stuff like that.
And see, he does studies for this stuff.
Oh yeah.
He's not just
Oh, he's.
well. I
I'm
mean,
sure
obviously he's cranking them out because he's doing a lot of them.
he's
But
taking photos. Yeah.
yeah, and some of the later ones, it's funny. He hired models
And you
for
can
all
tell
the
you can
girls,
tell
but
when
all
he's
the men he took photos of himself.
yeah you can tell he's sometimes he's inventing and sometimes he's not, and you can tell when it gets a little looser, a little more
Look at this. How cool is
like
that,
that.
man?
Yeah, he did a good study so he wouldn't get lost while he's trying to do an escalator. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he
Yeah.
couldn't look up escalator. He lived in New York.
Yeah.
And so he probably went
Couldn't
and
look it
drew
up on
one.
Google. Yeah.
Right. But what's cool about it is it's got some of these bigger, so you
Oh,
can
look
kind
at
of
that. She's
see.
breaking. She's breaking that arm. Look at that.
Oh yeah.
That joint don't go that way, miss.
No. And then some of these, of course, this has got half toning. I wish they hadn't half toned it quite so much, but I don't know,
Oh,
what they had.
that's all they had. Yeah. They didn't have
Uh,
the original.
it's got a lot of his sketches. Apparently did a lot of sketching and drawing. And he was in the army at one point. And he was in China, so there's a chapter of his watercolors in China. And then he kind of got into there's a little bit here about
Jackson Pollock.
Well, he knew Jackson Pollock. He met Jackson Pollock, and he did this kind of stuff. But he never was real successful at it. But he did, painting of his wife.
Yeah, anybody that paints is going to start thinking about is his big weakness abstraction. He's going to look at that.
So he did some stuff for the Slicks, as it was, after he got out of the army, and did some different stuff. And he would these were all paintings he did to send to the New Yorker, and he never sold to them. He always got this form letter back.
Keep trying.
Yeah, look at this. I think this is really cool.
And that may be a lot of like, oh well, we already know what this guy does.
Right.
If we put him in the New Yorker, it will cause there'll be a fit. People will say, "Hey, I know that guy's work. He works some."
So some of these, they have these huge blow-ups of and this, to me, this is what what I'm looking at.
Yeah.
To see. I don't know if this is actual size, but it looks like it could be. How, and then it's got the I don't know if that's a reproduced size, but it kind of gives you an idea of what it looks like smaller.
No, that's a great book. Like you say, it's just so much of it. That is your coffee table book. How much did that cost you again?
$31.
Wow, that's a bargain. Look at that.
Yeah. I like this a lot. This is really cool. This drawing right here, or this painting right here.
Yeah, that's got it's totally designed with the idea of like, I'm not going to do anything up there where you're putting type on it. I'm just
yeah. Well, he had done a few pulps by now.
Right, so there, the one on the left.
Yeah.
He knows what's going on. It's like, why bother? Let's focus on my action. But no, it is great. It is great because these obviously are, they've got a lot of the paintings still laying around. And this guy has done us all a favor by getting some nice reproduction of those originals.
Yeah.
Look at that. Yeah, I may have to have this one.
If you get it, I've seen it recently online for about $50, but I've also seen it for a couple hundred. So
yeah, you could pay a lot for this. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, it just depends on. I just kind of lucked into. I found it. Like I said, I didn't know the guy. I just saw it. I was like, oh crap, I'm getting this. I kind of thumbed through it and I was like, there's a lot of pulp stuff here.
Oh yeah. Well, he is the guy that regularly did Mad Magazine, right?
I don't think he did much Mad Magazine.
I think he did.
Well, we'll see. Comic books. We're in the comic books. A lot of, never anything. Because, I don't think Marvel at the time in the 50s would have paid for a painted cover. I don't know. Or maybe they had their own guy. It was always kind of.
Oh, yeah. And there's look at all those classic comics.
This is a Conan the Conqueror cover. Think about how different that is than how Frazetta would have handled that.
Yeah.
Or how Frazetta did handle that.
I saw a quote.
He's not a fantasy guy, I don't think. I mean, it was a cool cover, but, and then he gets into men's adventure magazines. This is interesting. I mean, look at this, man. How crazy is that? And I think these were done in black and white, I guess. Well, that one has got a little bit of, it's kind of monochromatic, but I think
Yes,
some of these
yeah, yeah.
were
He'll
done because they were reproduced in black and white.
probably gouache, and that can look very
Maybe.
oil, and but that is kind of a go-to technique for those magazines back then to have a gray
A black.
painting. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Look at that, man. The bear
Mm-hmm.
coming through.
Mm-hmm.
It's from
Yeah, men's
Men's
life.
Life.
Road agent beware.
Dude, look at
Well,
that.
I'm
And
sure all of these mention their media and stuff, don't they? In most
no,
cases,
it doesn't. No, it
it
doesn't say what
doesn't.
it. No.
Well, I guess you didn't know. Yeah.
If you, I haven't read all of the introduction, so it may say, he worked primarily in this or that.
Uh huh.
You know, there's a pretty long biographical section.
Actually,
I'm
what I
getting
was probably thinking of was that he did all the Mars attacks
that. Yeah, he did.
trading cards.
Okay, so now we get into these men's magazines from the '60s,
And I'm thinking
where
of
it's like
Norman Mingo, I guess, is the guy that did all the
mad stuff.
the mad stuff. Yeah.
So now it gets in, and it's a lot of like Nazi, Nazis, I don't know what you would call this, like uh, torturing women, I guess.
Yeah.
Is,
Yeah. Oh yeah, Nazis rapey stuff.
Yeah, I mean, not literally, but certainly implied.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
but I mean that just shows you where the magazine business went and where
Oh yeah.
illustration went. Because all the pulps had disappeared.
Yeah.
So if
I
you're a
mean,
painter, what are you going to do? I mean, and he probably wasn't getting anything for these.
dead and gone. Yep. All that.
Oh yeah, a lot of people have been complaining about AI art, and I told
This could
somebody,
be where a lot of it gets its cues from.
well,
Yeah.
no, no,
Compositions
no.
and
Well,
textures.
yeah, I mean, I don't know how that works, but what my comment was, I've seen. Here's the trading card section.
Mm-hmm.
I was trained. So if you know the history of the Mars Attacks cards were inspired by these Civil War cards that Topps did.
Mm-hmm.
They did this Civil War series, and everybody loved it. And so they're
Mm-hmm.
trying to figure out what to do next, and that's when they
Which
did the Mars
those
Attacks.
were often gruesome as well, weren't they? Yeah, look at
Oh
that.
yeah,
All those corpses fighting from a wall of
yeah,
corpses. Yep.
yeah. And so
I'd like to have those cards. Those look pretty good.
well, what's funny is he wasn't the only artist on them, but
Mm-hmm.
they had a couple other artists, and the art director was complaining, and so this guy touched up all the paintings
Uh-huh.
to be in his style, and then he did a series of world flags cards that amazingly sold very well.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
They apparently they got heat for the gory Civil War cards, and so they did these flags of the world cards.
Culturally
Yeah,
redemptive. Yeah.
exactly, to kind of get the heat off of them a little bit. And then they did Mars Attacks,
Mm-hmm.
and
Killing the dog. Boy, I tell you what, you knew things were not going
yeah,
to take it easy on your psyche when you
yeah,
disintegrate the dog.
yeah. I don't know if you can see this. It's a model he made with a skull in it that they use for lighting for the
Uh-huh.
Martian
Oh,
helmets.
beautiful, beautiful.
Um, oh, there's the one, destroying a dog.
Yeah.
There's not all of them in here, but there's quite a few.
I've got them as JPEG somewhere. I'm sure that.
They made a book of them. I have this. I don't know if I showed you my X-Men book for the X-Men trading cards. Hang on, I got it right here. I think I showed you this. Did I show you this?
Maybe not. That's a pretty thick book too. Look at that.
It's got all the X-Men trading cards in it.
How about that?
Yeah, I bought it for like $10. I have all the cards,
It's good
but
for
I just thought
It's good
Yeah,
for old timey character design, huh?
exactly. It's like if I want to draw like a '90s costume of any of the X-Men character, they're all in here. You know.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a copy of they did an essential of the Marvel handbook to the Marvel universe. That's kind of like the Bronze Age version
Mm-hmm.
of the uniforms. So I got that for reference for that. Anyway, here's a big
Yeah.
Martian. Oh, anyway, but like I was saying,
Well,
on
the
the
original
AI art,
sizes. Yeah, go ahead. I imagine the originals are kind of small.
yeah, they're probably not this big.
Mm.
Supposedly, I think in here, I think there's one in here reproduced at drawn size. If I could find it. I mean, I know it's a different deal. These were drawn and not painted. I don't see it. Oh, and I think this is the actual size. They're a little bit bigger than the trading cards, but
Well,
these weren't
that's the deal.
painted.
That's the deal. When you sell these on eBay, they have to be paintings that are on the cards. They don't reduce your art and put them on those cards. They want
Well,
you to work
that's
the side. Well, they are works.
that's the
They are
sketch
slightly.
cards.
Yeah. The sketch cards.
But anyway, so on the AI art, going back to the AI art, I was talking. There was a discussion about it online, and I said, I went to school for commercial art. I was trained to do paste up and spot illustration and fit text and type and
Hmm.
basically lay out advertising and magazines and stuff like that. That's what and to do newsletters. That's what I went to school for. But I graduated in '89, and literally like 3 years later, that wasn't even a field because
Yeah.
desktop publishing had destroyed it.
Yeah.
You know, and you don't. That's I mean, I'd lived through that.
Hmm.
But you go back to like magazine illustration. I mean, you can see that in this guy's career. He did
Hmm.
all those pulps. I mean, at one point, he bought a brownstone, an entire brownstone in New York City. And it talks about how at the time he did like these cards, he was kind of scrambling for cash.
Hmm.
You know, the the art field always gets killed by technology,
Yeah.
and AI art is just the next step in it.
I, I,
You know,
Nasser, who kind of crashed our little party not too long ago on the show,
yeah.
uh, he shared with me his most recent paperback where he had done it himself by inputting all that stuff in one of the AI things. I forget
Oh,
which
he got
one
the
it
cover for it.
was. He got the
Oh yeah,
best.
yeah,
He got
those
the
kind of
best.
jobs.
He got the best cover he's ever got for one of his books. So I told him so. Yep, that's the best thing I've
The
ever seen on your product there, Nasser.
Well, and that's the thing is that kind of art. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, and there are a lot of artists that they may be they may do whatever comics or whatever, but they make side gigs and it's only a couple $100 or $100 or whatever. Those kind of jobs are going to vanish
Yeah. Oh
because
yeah.
I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
why
Like
would
my deal on the
in world?
whatchamacallit. In world. They're they're probably saying, hey, look at this compared to that old
Well,
Goodson product. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, there may be something to that. I mean, I don't know. Just I mean, I think it depends on what they're looking for.
Well,
With anybody. If they're
I'll,
if if you're doing a book, like say if you're doing say if, I don't know what kind of book Nasser's book is, but say if you're doing a science fiction book, well, you could put in. Hey, I need a guy in a spacesuit walking down the middle of the street in Times Square. And
hmm.
if you mess around with it enough, you'll get something that looks pretty
Oh
cool. And
yeah.
if you do it right, it can be something that and it may not be exactly what you wanted, but if you got a book and you were like, well, do I pay somebody I know a couple $100 to do it and
Right.
maybe they do a good job or just have this that looks almost like a photo? You know, I mean,
Oh yeah, and just so texturally rich, it looks like something that
man, you can put in,
Maxfield
styles.
Parrish. Yeah, Maxfield Parrish. Just to enter the word Maxfield Parrish, and you'll get something that looks like him. You know.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, I don't know. What that like I told. So today, I don't know what these are. Ugly stickers. That
Oh,
looks watercolor.
it's interesting. Yeah. Ugly stickers. Oh, that's we're still on Saunders. Okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. I'm not through the book, man.
Okay.
So he did some Batman cards, and apparently they're one of the hardest kind of trading cards to find.
Oh, I remember those. Yeah, I've got the JPEGs of those laying around too. Yeah, those are cool because they are so mundane in setting and stuff that it's kind of cool, kind of funny.
Yeah, I think they were out I think they're based off the TV show. A lot of the
Uh huh.
designs and
Yes.
stuff. Then I guess he did some Valentine, some I don't, Universal Monsters Valentine stickers. I don't get the crossover on that, but oh no, this is the no no no. This is the one that's the rare one. Superman in the Jungle, and he was hired to ink these. They were drawn by Al Plastino. He inked his preliminary drawings. He got $100 a card, and he got it because he thought it'd be like he could do the entire thing in one day, but it's like it took him days and days, and he's like, "Oh man, drawing comics is a hard, or inking
Oh
comics
yeah.
is a lot harder than it looks."
Yeah. Yeah. It's got to be right.
Okay, yeah, this is the one. Superman in the Jungle is one of the rarest sets ever produced by Topps. Which, I mean, I don't know what the heck's going on here, but anyway, so he did some wacky packs, wacky packages, more flags. They went back to the flags. Oh, and then there's presidents. That man, I wouldn't take on the president's job for anything. That'd be all those likenesses. It'd be
Yeah.
terrible.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It'd be something only for a guy that could really whip that out like a
Well,
Mort
I mean,
Drucker.
yeah.
And then there's finally, there's an awful lot of these guys that are just waiting to quit and retire so they can do their own thing, and that's what he
Yep.
wanted to do, right there.
Well,
Huh?
late
Some
work.
people that's not true. Yeah, you know. Uh,
Um, I think some of this may be in the Cowboy Hall of Fame. It seems like I read in here somewhere that he ended up going to like one of his pictures was because they talked about him visiting the Cowboy Hall of Fame. I don't see that there though. Apparently, him and his wife traveled and he did watercolors and.
well, I've been looking at a lot of Ron Lemon's cool stuff that he's got to where he has little tutorials and it's
Oh yeah.
made me think a lot about painting. He makes a point that it's, that fairly often people don't realize they're supposed to be dabbing their paint onto the canvas, instead of trying to
Oh
get it
yeah.
trying to get it on with a stroke. And watching that how he put the paint on, just that physical thing of seeing, I realized I need to do that about more often, lots more often, because that's
Yeah.
the way paint really needs to go on pretty often is to put it on a dot at a time and then spread it from there. I mean, it may still need to be spread a little bit, but get the dot on there.
So I haven't painted the last Christmas. I've been real busy with
Oh,
Christmas stuff.
you're going to be real busy.
Let's see. Uh-oh. Oh, crap.
What you
Oh,
do?
okay.
Well,
Well,
it's sealed up. Yeah,
apparently I closed it while this was wet,
it's always
but
going to
that's
happen.
my sea monster that is
Cool.
a failure. Yeah.
Not really, because it could be regarded as the underpainting. You could
Well,
come
that's the
on top
thing.
of
It
that.
needs more. It needs more if I'm going to do something with it. But
hmm
and then I bought this book. I actually got this at Walmart. They had cheaper at Walmart than it was on Amazon or on Dick Blick.
Look at that.
I had my
That's
shadow
awesome
peel, which
there.
I thought this came out pretty good.
Oh,
Originally,
it
his
looks
face was kind of
great.
green, but I repainted it, and then I was working on this. This is terrible.
Nice.
This is so.
You know
Someone
what?
has
It's
reached
it's
out.
only it's only terrible because it's rendered in little islands. It needs you need to go back over the top of it and just like integrate it into its field, whatever that is.
Yeah. Yeah, but this book, it's acrylic. It's the paper is called acrylic paper. I mean, it's bowed a little bit, but not too bad. It's kind of heavy duty.
How much is it? How much?
It was like $10 at Walmart.
And it's
10 or 11.
Like 10 sheets.
It's 24 sheets.
Oh, that's pretty good because I think on average, if you ordered Amazon, what I ordered was about $1 a sheet, if not more.
And I did this on Bristol board. You can see it's kind of bowing up.
Mm-hmm.
The first one, probably the best thing I've done.
But it's.
I like the shadow.
No, I do too.
I like the shadow. But anyway, so but I haven't been painting because we've been busy with Christmas stuff, and I don't know. I was home today, so for anyone watching, we had extremely cold weather today.
Oh, that's 80% of the country is having extremely cold weather.
Yeah.
Hey, I'll be right back here, Scott. I'm going to grab that coffee. Speaking of cold.
Oh, Ellis has went to get coffee. I don't know if anybody's watching this or not. I can't see the. Let me look at my camera. I can't tell on the thing. Anyway, if you're interested in painting, though, I recommend that Norm Saunders book. It's kind of cool. I got it on a fluke, and I've never painted until recently. But just out of the blue, I decided. Well, I had my comic book kind of went belly up, and so I wasn't doing anything, and so I thought I'm gonna paint. And I found this set of paints in my tabaret here, and it's enough paints to
acrylics to let you take a stab at it.
Yeah, I mean it's like this, and I got red, yellow, blue, green, black, and white. So
that's all you need.
Yeah, what more do I need?
No.
I bought me some. I didn't have any fan brushes, so I bought some fan brushes.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, the first night, literally, this is what I did, Ellis. I got some wax paper and mixed it. I was mixing it on wax paper, and I just messed with it. I haven't painted anything other than that watercolor I did, but I haven't painted anything in forever. And I just was like, can I get paint to look not like mud? And I just kind of messed with it and enjoyed it.
It just shows you that drawing knowledge leads on all that, and you've got some drawing knowledge that allows you to think about what you're up to in a very.
Yeah, well, and I don't know if I told you this, Ellis, but one thing that really inspired me was on Facebook, it's on Twitter. Somebody asked if you could master, or what had they worded? If you could gain any skill, any artistic skill, what would it be, and how would it affect your comics? Or maybe it's if you could master it. And I said it would be oil painting. And I would never draw a comic again, because to me, oil painting, that's the ultimate art form, in my opinion. I mean, to me, if you're an artist.
What's waiting for you to discover is that you think oil painting is the hardest thing to do, and you're going to discover once you get a few tubes and start playing around with it, that it's actually easier than most of the other paints you can dabble at.
Oh, is it?
Yes.
See, I think watercolor's the easiest.
Well, so actually, I think the agreement is in terms of like technical problems presented to illustrators. It's probably the most difficult. You got to really figure out a watercolor if you want it to look like anything.
Well, that's true. Okay. Well, I'm used to pen and ink, and then you throw some watercolor.
Yeah.
That's not really a watercolor.
Yeah, it's
that's but
yeah.
Anyway, so
I know what you're saying.
today,
Yeah, yeah. Enhanced drawings with a little watercolor on top,
yeah,
or
pen and ink with a watercolor.
yeah,
That's
it's not
that's not
quite what
really
I'm.
what.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's not what you're talking about. Yeah,
yeah.
I get that. Yeah, I mean, I've kind of in my mind said I don't want to just go. I mean, I could, and I thought about it. There are like starter watercolor kits that you could buy. I could get everything I needed for $100 or a couple $100. But on yeah, I wanted to mess with. I mean, I have the acrylic, so I might as well just mess with those
Yeah. Oh,
and
yeah.
see if I like it. And
Hmm.
I do. I find it really relaxing. I mean, I don't know. I enjoy it, but I don't have time. That's my big and acrylics dry too fast. Everybody complains about oils, but I'm like, I'm doing this. I'm like, oh man, it's dry already, you know.
Yeah, that's the
And
thing
they
you'll
dry
find.
on
Yeah.
your palate too quick,
Hmm.
So I could see that being easier on the
Hmm.
watercolor
Oh,
end,
yeah.
you know.
Yeah, the oils will let you play with them for ages. Pick it up, put it down. In fact, yeah, doing a pickup. This thing I've got in front of the world is something where I did a lot of wash on this canvas panel, and I came back in and dabbed at it and picked it up for a while, but eventually, it went in, and I'm done working with that. I could have done that for forever with oil, but I want to. I like right now. I'm using this pit pen to give myself a nice, obvious outline. Then I'm going to go over it with a little bit of acrylic color, give myself a little color scheme. I'll probably scan this and then do something in Photoshop that gives me notions, and then get back to it. And this will eventually be in oil, uh, like I've been doing them, and it should be
So
pretty fun.
so the so anyone that that like you say, it's pretty much the whole country, but my work closed today. We're closed tomorrow, and that was the intention because of Christmas.
Uh huh.
But they ended up closing a day early, so I was off today, and Michelle had to go to work,
Oh,
so I was free.
that's too bad.
Yeah,
It's too bad she had to go to work. I mean, in
yeah.
terms of like
Well,
what a hardship that was with all that
she
coal.
she had stuff. Well, she had stuff she needed to get done, so she was, but she didn't have anything for tomorrow, so she's not going in tomorrow. She was supposed to
Hmm.
go in half a day tomorrow, so I I didn't go to work. Well, I had talked to the writer of Heaven's Rejects
Hmm.
on the internet. We had kind of been chatting a little bit, and so I said, "Hey, do we need to talk? Can we talk?" And
Hmm.
so, what's your schedule like? And I said, I'm off, Thursday. I'm off. I forget whatever nights, and then I said, or Thursday during the day. And he said, Thursday day is good for me. I talked to him for 3.5 hours on the phone today, Ellis.
Cool. I mean,
It
in
was.
terms of like, did you accomplish anything by doing it? I mean,
Oh yes, yes. So,
that you can share.
well, yeah, I mean,
Some
we're
of
gonna
it, some
do.
of it you can't. I'm sure.
Well, some of it I can't. We talked a little bit about what's going on with Heaven's Rejects and the publisher and some of that, and I think, I mean, yeah, I don't know if everybody may not know this, but the publisher, SourcePoint Press, has told us that they're not going to collect it in a trade, which was all along was what I was looking forward to because it's like, man,
Sure.
that'll be out forever, you
Yep.
know, and so I was trying to figure out what our options were, and anyways, that kind of became a thing because I said something on Facebook about they're not collecting it, and people come out of the woodwork complaining about them, and I wasn't trying to drag them. I was just telling people, hey, if you want the book, don't wait for the trade because the trade is not coming.
Hmm.
Well, that kind of became a thing, and there was some behind the scenes stuff that I had no way of knowing, of course.
Hmm.
Uh, but uh, I think,
is there any chance that at all that they tested it, or, you're talking about this corporate stuff? Guess what I've started? I guess I'm on episode 3 I'll start Mad Men. I mean, you
Oh
talk about
yeah.
there's this kind of merciless kind of thing that the bottom line goes on, and it's like it becomes a you could call it dog eat dog, but it's really just a bunch of people
It's just
assert.
math.
Yeah, it is just math.
Well, and that's what bit us, and that's what Greg and I talked about a little bit was the numbers fell off after issue one.
Hmm.
Well, I never knew. This is what I told Greg. I said, and we talked about that. What would we do different? And I told Greg, I said, I never knew when the book was going to be in preview, and that was my beef to them. I was like, you guys never told me when anything was coming out, and so I didn't know when to promote it on my social media.
Hmm.
And I said, I told Greg, I said, if I were doing it again, I would go into it knowing I've got to figure all that out myself, and I would look for when is it going to be in previews, and if I'd known when it was going in previews, then which I kind of knew summer, and then it's like, oh, it's in next week's previews. Well, if I knew ahead of time, just the month, that's all I need to know is the month, I can figure out when the next preview is coming out. And I would have said, like on social media, hey, in 3 weeks, the June preview is coming out. Look for Heaven's Rejects. Tomorrow, previews come out. Look for Heaven's Rejects. Have your retailer order it. Here's the order code. And then I never knew when the orders got cut off.
Hmm.
So several times I said, "Hey, this is the last week to order," and then I found out, "Oh no, you can order it for 2 more weeks." And so that was one of my things. Like they did not help
Mixed
me.
signals. Yeah.
They didn't help me promote my own book,
Uh huh.
and there was some behind the scenes turmoil going on too that I didn't know about. But uh, that's not over, by the way. But I thought maybe the publisher was mad at me for posting something online, but I didn't drag. I just was, and I didn't name them. I just said, "Hey, Evans Rejects is not going to be collected," because and it's because the number. And I was like, "Hey, I'm happy they committed to 4 issues. I'm grateful for that." And then I did say I wish they would have communicated better with me. Well, I'll stand by that because I told
Hmm.
them that. I mean, in my email to them, I wish you guys would have communicated with me a little bit better.
Hmm.
But uh, anyway, so we talked about that. We also talked about our next project, which is why I'm doing these illustrations. These are characters from the pulp series, The Spider, which is public domain. Greg and I talked about a spider, about standalone 32-page issues. He has loose plots for 4 issues, four magazine. We're gonna take the approach of they're all the same character, not really any overlap, just different cases
Hmm.
basically. We talked about that. We talked about some of what we wanted to do as far as that goes. Um, and we got a plan. He's going to write a script. He's going to write a script, and I'm going to draw it.
Excellent.
The but what but in the meantime, I've been contacted by someone who is working on something for Antarctic Press
Hmm.
that they want me to they are Antarctic Press does a lot of anthologies, so they're gonna submit something, and I think they put stuff in there before, so they have a track record, but they want me to draw something for one of their science fiction anthologies. That
Hmm.
won't be till like the spring. Haven't got a script for that. And then another guy's contacted me about an original pulp character that he came up with. And I've still got my own script. So so
Yeah.
it was good talking to Greg because I wasn't sure. I've got an idea of a plot, but I haven't figured out which character I wanted to do it. Greg and I are doing the spider, so I'm going to do a different character. I'm either going to do the Black Bat, who's also public domain, or I'm going to do an original character of my own. I think he's called the Night Terror. I haven't fleshed him out
Ah, I
completely,
like
but
that.
I like the Night Terror.
Hmm.
Um, and he may, and I, he may. I thought about this. he may his disguise may be a kabuki mask.
Ah,
Or something. Maybe not kabuki mask, 'cause that'd be Japanese, but
mhm.
it may be something he grabs at a store in Chinatown. Like a cheap Halloween type mask, a novelty mask that he wears. It's of some kind of demon type thing, but he may be called the Night Terror. You know.
Thematically, what do you think superhero stuff is really all about? I mean, why is there such a market for it, really? And of course, it is a
Oh,
huge market.
I think superhero stuff is it scratches it's adventure.
Hmm.
It's like the ultimate adventure. It's a little bit of wish fulfillment. Everybody wishes that they could, like,
Sure.
or at least when they're kids. I mean, supposedly adults grow out of it, but
Uh huh.
there's always this kind of thing of, what if I were the strongest guy in the world, or the smartest guy, or the richest guy, or
I think it's
everyone.
the kind of fantasies everybody's having as they're laying their head down to sleep. They're indulging
Sure.
themselves into dreams of godlike uh, immensity
Yeah,
and
I mean, yeah,
stuff
maybe
like
not.
that.
Maybe it's not. Maybe, but I mean, I have a friend that works for Publishers Clearinghouse, and so I'm just, and he's always talking about it on social media, and so I get the Publishers Clearinghouse stuff. I get the emails. I always do the thing. You know, Ellis, the current prize that they're going to draw in a week or two is like $5,000 a week for life,
Ooh,
man.
that'd be
I
good.
mean,
I can live
yeah,
on that.
yeah. You think about, like, what would you do? I mean,
I'd be in California now that it's cold right now if I had that. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's like, holy cow. I mean, I would almost,
I
I
think
don't
they're going
know.
to ice up in Florida probably the way they've shown those maps. I don't know.
It's gonna be cold there, but it won't. When we go there, it'll be warm.
Hmm.
Not, I mean, it'll be in the 50s. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, which will be actually kind of good. I mean, it'll be nice to have a sweater on in Florida. Yeah. And
Yeah.
plus the mosquitoes are they're taking a break. That'll be
Yep.
nice.
Oh yeah. Yeah. But anyway, but I mean, I think that super. Go back to your question. I think superheroes scratch that itch for some people. I
Hmm.
think one of the problems is with comics now is that I think too many people involved in the creation of comics, and I don't know if it's the editors, the writers, or who. They're 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 fueled by, they don't have a normal sense of that. It's more about, almost, it seems to almost be more like a I'm going to show you kind of thing, versus a wanting to be the best.
Mm.
Does that make sense? It's more of a I'll get one over on those, more of a
Yeah, yeah.
revenge
It,
thing,
it,
I
it
guess.
is a gamesmanship kind of thing. Probably is going on to a large extent. I
Whereas,
mean, when we hear that Marvel book that you that Marvel history book, obviously they were gaming back and forth from DC. Speaking of which, what do you think of James Gunn? Do you think he's going to be the guy that makes DC Comics bigger than Marvel Comics? I think he might. I
no.
think he might pull it off.
No.
You
I
don't think so, huh?
I, no, I mean, he's everything he does is Marvel.
Dark. It's
Marvel.
dark usually.
It's the same. It's very repetitive. His
Yeah, it's
and
his humor. Yeah.
It's his humor. It's his aesthetics, and I mean, it's cool. I like it, but I
Hmm.
don't know that you build a superhero universe off of it.
Yeah.
The things he's done have been really good. I'm The only Marvel movie I have any interest in seeing at the theater, probably since Endgame, is the new Guardians of the Galaxy, the third Guardians of the Galaxy movie.
Hmm.
I mean, I don't know what's coming. I haven't seen Black Panther. Eventually it'll show up on Disney, and I'll probably watch it. I still haven't watched all of Doctor Strange. I just watched it and I was like, oh man, it's
Oh,
just this muddled mess.
yeah.
You
Well,
know.
let's see that most recent Doctor Strange. I don't guess I've seen that. I saw that most recent Spider-Man with the multiverse and Doctor
Oh
Strange in
yeah.
it, and that was hard to take. Really, it wasn't all that good.
Well, first off, I'm not a fan of the multiverse idea because
Yeah,
what you do is you de-uniquefy
yeah, yeah,
all of your heroes.
yeah,
There should be, I mean, there should be one Spider-Man, there should be one Captain America, there should be one Iron Man. When all of a sudden you have a bunch of them, or anyone that does this, and
uh-huh.
you end up with this ridiculous thing where it's like, what makes your character special is out the window, in my opinion. And if anyone can cobble together a suit of armor and become Iron Man, then
Yeah,
what
yeah.
made Tony Stark so special?
Well, that's what they did. Was and what was the deal? It was kind of like a special, like you may borrow Spider-Man. We own him, but you may borrow him for the
Yeah, they had a deal
MCU,
with
which
Sony.
that was all during the Tom Holland period. And of
Yeah.
course, it's interesting to try to, as a goodbye to that whole era of having owned Spider-Man, and you didn't. The other, when I
Yeah.
guess Paramount, that they went ahead and made it a big
Sony.
party. The film about the little all the personalities involved, enjoying seeing each other, and it was
Oh
good to
yeah.
good to see Toby so and so
Maguire.
Maguire, again as Spider-Man. That was funny.
Oh, I still maintain that Spider-Man 2 is the best superhero movie ever. It's by far my favorite. I love those movies. A lot of they don't get a lot of love. I think if you didn't see them, now, and even with all superhero movies, it was so unique to have a Spider-Man film at the time,
Hmm.
and we've gotten away from that. But with the Marvel movies now, everything is big, and I think we've forgotten what that's like to be like, oh wow, a Spider-Man movie,
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. It was a big deal. Yeah.
and I like that. And I still think, like I said, I still think two is the best. And I think that one thing I've discovered is Andrew Garfield. He got hosed by the writers, and he's a lot better. He of the three of them, he may be the best actor in my
He
opinion.
probably does do as well as anybody. That Under Silver Lake, I think, made everybody fans of him. He was a really good.
Yeah,
That's a
and he
really good
did.
turn in that.
He he played Jim Baker in The Eyes of Tammy Faye,
Oh
and he
man.
did. I mean, he's just a really good
Hmm.
actor, and he kind of got the first Spider-Man he was in, Amazing Spider-Man, was okay. It had some goofy spots, but he wasn't. They didn't. I didn't. For me, it didn't hit the right Spider-Man tone.
Hmm.
And then the second one was just unwatchable. Jamie Foxx was miscast and misscripted
Is that
as
the one about
Electro,
the? Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. That's
and
why he's in that other one. Okay.
yeah, I thought he was. I want to say he was misscripted, really, because he did a pretty good job in the new one as the same character. So I don't
Well,
think it was him.
you can't
I think
you
it
can't beat the script. If it's bad, it's bad. That
right.
Morbius thing is it can't overcome
Yeah.
its script. It's
Oh, and it had some cool moments,
yeah,
man.
yeah, yeah. I mean, oh
I
no,
love there was that fight in the
the money
subway.
was spent on it. Yeah, the money was spent. It was there, but
Yeah.
they just couldn't get over
Yeah, it
that
was just
script.
yeah, I was just like, oh,
Yeah,
but
some of that dialogue.
oh yeah,
But that's true on that that Venom thing too. They put a lot of work in that because I watch these extra films that show you how much
Oh yeah.
They were into it, and the guy that played Gollum, that fellow there, that's such a great actor, and he does things on the stage all the time, and
Hmm.
gets along great with actors, gets a lot out of them, and everybody's speaking really highly of him. You just can't get around it. That Venom movie was pretty mediocre.
Yeah.
And it's because the script just didn't allow it to come away.
Yeah. It's like painting on a bad drawing.
Yeah, exactly.
If you don't, I mean, it's like building a house. If you don't have a good framework, it ain't gonna stand up.
I'm showing people that eventually see this, Scott. I got the newest. Now, I caused the library to buy this, the newest Reckless book, "Follow Me
Oh
Down"
yeah.
by Brubaker and Phillips. And they say at the end of it, they're probably taking a little break from this, but I believe someone has told them, saying, "Just do them as long as you want to do them. We'll put them out."
Oh,
And
probably. Yeah. It's
and
like printing
and
money and then.
and this is Brubaker. I think he considers this is like Parker
Oh yeah.
or his Travis McGee or whatever. He loves showing you the ins and outs because he gets into the head so much. I think this is a projection of himself. You talk about projecting yourself into your characters. I think he is thinking about this whole, even if he didn't live this life, this is
Yeah.
what he would love to have had as his SoCal avatar, basically.
Oh
And
yeah.
then I got another one that you might like to buy. This was only about $20. It's called Other Worlds: How to Imagine, Paint, and Create Epic Scenes of Fantasy. And he's got like about 30 paintings where he gives you the details of what went on with the media. He's got oil, gouache, and watercolor,
Oh really?
and very little digital. He every now and then, he will take a break, like I think everybody does anymore, and work something out digitally, and then come back to it with his traditional media.
It's
You know.
funny you say that. Now that I've painted some, I've
Mhm.
thought about should I try painting in Photoshop and see.
Oh
It's like
no, that's the way to go. Now you've got an iPad Pro, don't you?
no,
Oh, okay. I thought you did.
no. I have an
Why
iPad.
do I think you've got an iPad Pro? I don't know. Well, you do have an
I
iPad.
yeah. I have an
Okay.
iPad. I have an older iPad that I'm not even sure where it's at, and I have
It,
an
it probably would.
iPad
It probably
Mini.
wouldn't work. Yeah, it wouldn't. It wouldn't work with the pencil. And
No,
I'd
no.
want you to have one that worked with the pencil if you were going to do Procreate. Procreate is an eye opener in terms of it might become your only thing you ever did if you had an iPad Pro with Procreate, because it is fun.
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, maybe.
No, I'm
Ellis
not.
is
I'm not.
like,
I'm not.
there's
Nah,
no maybe. It would
yeah,
be
yeah.
your only thing.
It might be. It might be. You
So,
never know.
so
Yeah.
I
Go ahead.
talked to Greg today for like
Yeah.
3 hours, and I we went over the first story arc. So I'm drawing the main characters
Mm-hmm.
in the thing. This is of course the spider. As this is our design of the spider,
Mm-hmm.
and then Richard Wentworth, his alter ego, and that's Nita Van Sloan, his love interest. But in the book I'm reading that spider book, the one that you have, the Doom Came to Gotham or whatever it is about
Mm-hmm.
the robots and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And she at one point she's doing jujitsu on some guys.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
So
jujitsu was a
she's very
big.
she's very capable.
Mm-hmm.
And then this is Ram Singh, who's his I don't know what you call him. Not he's not a servant, but he saved his family's life in is there India or Pakistan, and so he came over to help him. And this was his major. I think Wentworth was a lieutenant, and this guy was a major in World War One, and his name is Ronald Jackson. Ronald Jackson. He's kind of his chauffeur now.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so I told Greg I would draw kind of the rogues, kind of his friend, and then I'm trying to draw, even though they're not, I don't know what they're going to look like initially, but I'm drawing the main bad guys in our 4 arcs. So I'm kind of putting together a little montage here that I can send to Greg and say, look, okay, now get to writing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know. Anyway, 2 of them we're using are from the books, and then 2 of them are original that Greg came up with. He's got some of the concepts he's come up with are pretty. It's I think they'll make good stories, and it all kind of goes together pretty well, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But they're not continuous. But when you look at all of them, like all of his associates have a role in each of the different books. You know, one of the characters, a character from the original books called the Batman,
Mm-hmm.
Greg is kind of positioned him as like kind of a Nazi, and so that's going to really play against Jackson, because Jackson's a black man,
Mm-hmm.
and so he's going to be kind of, I think it was Jackson, maybe Ram Singh, they're both minorities. And so that's going to be kind of the arc that they have kind of a bigger role than some of the other ones. And then he also fought a guy called the Iron Man, and Greg's got a take on that. That's going to be kind of cool, I think.
You know, it's interesting to think about how
Yeah,
all that is it's archetypal, really. A lot of this thing that goes on with these pulp heroes. Now I've forgotten what I was going to say. I got too deep onto 2D, and I just blurted out something that I thought was a fully formed thought, and it surely wasn't.
that happens.
Yeah. What was that? Oh, yeah. Let me pop up. Won't take but 2 seconds. I'm going to walk over here and get another book. Show everybody.
Okay.
Talk about your pulps. I've got the Black Lizard big book of pulps. It looks like a phone book. So I haven't started reading any of this yet, and you know,
Did you
there's
get that
no.
from the show me the cover.
No, I got this.
I've got that book.
Oh well, very good. I bought it too. That's what I did.
That's
and
funny.
It didn't cost too much. It didn't cost too much. I forget how much.
I found mine at a thrift store, I think. Believe it or not.
Wow, look at that. Got James M. Cain in it. Everybody worked for him. So I assume they've gone to the trouble of giving you the best of the pulps, I hope.
Yeah, that would be that's probably the best way to read that, for sure.
The Black Lizard anthology. I'm not sure how many shadows will be in there, if they have any. I'm not sure.
Well, probably not. But it's probably more crime type stuff. But you never know.
Mm-hmm.
You never know. So I've been reading a lot of pulps lately because I bought a ton of shadows, and I bought they reprinted 8 of the Black Bats, and then I've been reading that Spider book. And I have to say, and then when I was a kid, I read a bunch of Doc Savage.
Oh yeah.
I really think of the just sheer writing. I think the Shadow is like head and shoulders above the rest of them. Doc Savage is pretty good, and I liked Doc Savage when I was a kid, but the Shadow has kind of a weird bent to it that I really like.
Yeah, I think it's on a psychology level. We all dig the Shadow, and plus he came first. Everybody else is like, "Oh, I'm going to do something original," and it's like, no, this guy's got it going with the Shadow. I'm just going to copy it.
Yeah, and you're too late.
Yeah. So, Wim says Jiu-Jitsu came to the West about the end of the Victorian era. Because after all, our good old president Teddy Roosevelt, he was into his judo. Drawing from judo books and videos are the best ways, in my opinion. There's a guy named Chadi, Chadi, that does really cool vintage martial art videos. You might do a search for him at some
Oh
point.
yeah, shoddy.
Yes,
I'll look.
and he does really really nice where he takes these old vintage books and does scans from them and all that. Oh, look at that! Yeah, yeah.
I have, you know, in the 70s, there were a lot of those, like, those paperback Aikido books and that kind of thing.
Hmm.
And anytime I find those at a thrift store, I'll buy them.
Oh, yeah.
So I have this book, and I think I've talked about this book on our show before, but maybe I haven't. So I have this book. I specifically bought this book. Let me get it. The reason why is because in interviews, when John Byrne, they'll ask John Byrne about drawing Iron Fist, and they'll say, you know, all the fighting was so authentic. Did you do martial arts? Did you have a background of martial? And he said, no. When I got the job, I went out and bought a book on martial arts, and I swiped the poses. Well, somebody online went and found this is the book that he had, not the exact copy.
That'd be a pretty easy detective job, you know. I mean, the moment you'd have the comic book open and wait until you found the exact one he was swiping.
Oh God, I don't know how. Of all the books, though,
Uh-huh.
I forget. And let me see if I can find one. I mean, it's been a while. I'd have to, and I don't have. I think that may be swiped.
Mm-hmm.
There's one that I if I can find it. And of course, this is an overview. This is not really a, but see, look, if you look at this photography, it's very comic booky anyway, compared to some of those martial arts books, where it's more almost like a diagram.
Mm-hmm.
I can't find it. There's one where he's flipping Sabretooth. I don't see it. But I mean, even, you know, it's just really, it's anyway, I saw this book. I think he was in one of the John Byrne Facebook groups, or someone was talking about that, that this was the book that he used. And so I looked and I saw it on eBay and I bought it. That's pictures he's used. The guy flipping that guy. 100% he's used that. I mean, he switched it up a little bit, but he's used
that looks like a keto. Does it say it's a keto?
Maybe a keto. Let's see what chapter. Because yeah, it is a keto. Good eye, man.
Yeah, I've done that move a few times. It's like,
were you the thrower or the flyer?
Oh, you're both in the keto. You don't go long before you aren't both. Yeah.
Oh, gotcha. God, looks like this would be brutal on you if you didn't have good mats.
Yeah.
Or you fell wrong.
Oh, well, that's the really beautiful thing about a keto. You are a guy that knows how to do a break fall by the end of your study.
That he used.
Yeah.
That flying kick.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And you know, it's funny. You and as I was saying that, I was thinking about that. Oh, that too. That he's used that pose. I sold that pose for one of my things.
Yeah. You know? Oh yeah. That straight up looks like the origin of Iron Fist in terms of like the first image or something. You know. It's pretty cool.
But anyway, one of the things I was in Taekwondo for a couple of years. Well, basically until the pandemic hit. And one of the things that I liked about it is, you know, we sparred. And so you kind of got used to like getting hit, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, it was never bad, but it was just like, you know, you're like, okay, if I'm gonna get hit or whatever, it's not gonna kill me more than likely, you know?
Yeah.
But I mean, so it makes sense. Like in Aikido, that would be part of it. Is you get used to like taking a throw.
I have hurt people before in point karate that I didn't mean to, but you know, you flip up a roundhouse kick and you mean to stop it, and it's like quack, you know. It's like, oops, sorry, I went through a little bit on that. That's my fault. My bad.
Yeah, the follow through was too much.
Yeah,
but yeah. Anyway, okay, we're out of time.
Yeah,
I need to go.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks for doing it again.
Well, I'm gonna be out of town next Thursday too. I was wanting
Yeah,
to tell you that.
sure.
So I
Let's
won't be
see
able to
what
record.
let's see what Wim says before we would let
Oh,
him go.
sure.
English martial arts has a lot of Victorian and Edwardian era martial arts. The guy to know the guy is known to do Renaissance fencing, bare buckle boxing, catch wrestling, and now yeah, yeah, English martial arts. Yeah, yeah, that YouTube channel. Yeah, that is a good
Oh,
one. Yeah,
okay.
I have caught his stuff before. Yeah, he is good to check out. Yep.
Somewhere I have, I don't know if it's a PDF or a series of JPEGs, but somebody put together a a a thing. It's like the Mad Men era of martial arts, and
Hmm.
it's like 60s, like stuff like James Bond
Yeah.
or Flint would use. It's
Yeah.
throws and
Yeah.
shots to the
Correct.
neck and stuff, but it's drawn. I don't know where they got it because it's old art, because it's clip art looking from, but it's a funny thing. If I find it, I'll send it to you if I come across it. But you
his
know,
br- his brother-in-law is called a gladiator or a gladiator. I can't pronounce.
um,
Oh,
I was going to ask you something. I can't remember what. Oh, so you didn't walk today, did you?
no, I did. Oh, no, no. I considered myself completely trapped. I
Oh yeah.
and I consider myself completely trapped tomorrow. I'm going to give it a break all the way till Saturday before I get out for supplies or anything. You know.
Well, I was going to go. So Michelle worked today, and she was going to work half a day tomorrow. And I have the library pass for the art museum, and so I was going to
Mhm.
go with her into the office, walk around, and then she was going to meet me, and we were going to go to the art museum and
Ah.
eat at the hot dog place. But she's going to have to work tomorrow, so I don't know if we're going to go. I went outside a little bit today with the dog, and I told her, I go, I cannot walk around in this. It's too
No,
cold, man.
no, no,
You know.
that wind is too much. Yeah, it was 7 degrees all day, and below it was, wind chill was
Oh, the
officially
wind was
locked at
terrible.
30 something below, something like that. You don't get out in that. Okay,
No.
Scott, I guess we're
Okay.
about done.
Okay,
Okay,
sounds good. Hey, thank you everybody for joining us.
yeah, yeah, Wim, thanks for dropping.